first and foremost, giving all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
All right, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim, pushing out this truth and sincerity. And we're gonna do a quick lesson. This is gonna be centered around, as you see on the top on the title, E is a natural born liar. And in recent news, you had President Trump. You know, he went up there and he did a post and delete on X.com, formerly Twitter, basically depicting basically depicting an image of so-called Christ. And the reason why we say so-called is because that is not the true image of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai, which is that's his true and proper name. But that image that they're depicting, that Trump was depicting rather, it is basically likened unto Caesar or Cesare Borgia, all right, which was the son of Pope Alexander VI, whom they propped up to be the image of Christ. All right, and so point being, like I said, is that Esau is just a liar, because even in Trump's cover up, he said, oh, I didn't know it had the same imagery as, like, he had the same apparel on as so-called Cesare. Mm-hmm. And he had they had all the imagery, like, it was shiny. It was like as if it was he was performing a miracle on an individual that looked like Epstein, and he was laying hands on him to heal him, but how did he justify it? He said that oh, I thought they were trying to portray me as a doctor, and so it was just a bold-faced lie, because he was catching a lot of criticism for that, especially from the Christian community, and he just came up with that lie. Just going to show, like I said, Trump is what the leader of white America. So it just showed the true natural nature of the so-called white man, which is a liar. So we're just gonna get a few precepts, and Lord willing, brother, edify. Everybody's got anything?
Yeah, I got something.
Okay.
This is Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
Yeah, estranged. They are estranged from the womb. Let's get that word estranged real quick. But basically they're wicked. They're wicked and ain't right from the beginning, man. That's just that. He said that they go from they be born speaking lies. So that's just something. Yeah. Come in. Yeah. Hey, Shalom. But you got that word estranged?
Estranged describes a state of emotional or physical alienation where individuals, typically family partners or friends, have lost their former closeness, often resulting in little or no contact.
Yeah, well, the wicked is estranged. Basically, he's cast out. Mm-hmm. Wasted away is he, which is Esau, right? That's the word. What the Hebrew word for Esau is Ashashua, which is wasted away. So he's totally wasted away. He's estranged. They're estranged from the womb. What does it say? They go about from they be born speaking. Read again.
Psalms 58:3. Mm-hmm. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Yeah, they go astray as soon as they be born. So they just a natural born liar. So that's where we got the title from. He's a natural born liar. That's what he does best. Deceptive. He's just a big deceiver, man.
If I may say too, and they'll say from a political perspective, all we do, if you really think about it, they do things to fit the image of the masses. Because it's about voting. It's about winning over. You have, and they do things through statistics. You have approval ratings, so they'll make, or every action that these politicians or these leaders of the government is doing is to corral the people, to keep their image intact. That's why this whole thing with the files, the Epstein files, is such a sensitive subject matter because it shows the true identities of these people.
Yep.
And they want to keep a reputation in a false perception
that they're
put
good,
out
that they're good people.
That they're good people, or the people that you want in office. But that image is starting to be cast down, man.
Got something.
You know, see, first off, it started with the spirit of the apostles and their elders, Elder Abba Bivens, King Mashai, Elder Priest Jaiquad, you know, who I missed, Elder Ariah, you know, they pushed this the true identity of this devil from a biblical standpoint on down to the apostles and us brothers also this teaching, you know. But now a lot of people are seeing these things take place on a global scale. You know, they're really playing catch up, but they're seeing it in reality from you know, seeing it with their own eyes, so to speak.
That's it.
You got it.
I got something real quick. It's Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare.
Yeah.
I have uncovered his secret places. And he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not.
He is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So through the spirit, read
Yeah.
from the top.
Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare.
But I have made Esau bare. That's being exposed. You know, you have these whistleblowers. You have all these different articles and documents from individuals that's in certain respective positions that have went into the true identity of this devil. You know, and see us, we break it all down. We go into it historically. We go back to the identity of this man. You know, through the spirit, what the scriptures say. Because the Most High tells you don't trust your enemy. You know? And it's not us that actually brought it to Esau first. Esau brought it first to us. You know, yeah, Jacob said, well, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. It's the truth. Cain and Abel, it goes back to it said he was a murderer from the beginning. Cain and Abel. Did Abel actually bring that aggression and hostile spirit towards Cain? No. He was giving offerings and making sure that he was in good stead with the Most High. But you see this devil, Cain, which the word Cain goes back to the word Quayon, which is a piercing instrument. You know, he was the first one to actually use a weapon for against his brother. You know, documented through the spirit for murder. You know, which was the beginning, of course, Cain and Abel. You know, now I just said that because you had the son of men, and you had son of the wicked, and you had the sons of God,
right?
Which Cain and Abel. But there, you know, with the sons of the wicked killing each other back then, you know, just from what we know in the scriptures, you know, you had Cain and Abel, and that was the first time where actually, because Cain was supposed to be a son of God, son of the Most High. You know, then of course later you had classes of men. But you continue on that.
Yep. It says, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself.
Yeah, uncover his secret places, meaning the lies have been brought out from the truth. You know, because like the brother speaking about, the elder speaking about, this devil, he's a damn liar by nature, man. You know, if he's saying something, just think about your job. You know, the amount of deception they do just to keep you at the bottom.
Yeah.
To keep you poor. You know, from an educational standpoint, keep you behind the 8 ball, make you have to pay just to actually get more of an idea of how to actually live in this reality.
Yeah.
This devil spoon feeds you information and makes you pay an exorbitant amount of money to actually have the concept. That's from a business standpoint. That's from a political standpoint. Law. You know, they don't teach you these different things that is true. You know, true wealth of information. Right. Because he doesn't want you to be in the know. He wants to keep you away from the truth. But through the spirit, that's why, you know, the Lord set up men to actually bring it out. You know, in its fullness. You got it. Yep.
And if I may say too, it says secret places, and also that word bare basically is synonymous with being naked. And so when you're naked you know, there's nothing else to see. There's nothing else for you to see. It's just like even when you, all right, so like you deal with a woman, right? You saw her naked. It's nothing else. You know, you done seen her. You done been with her. You done seen her. So there's no going back from that. You can't go back to you know. No, once you got that vision in your head of that woman, it ain't gonna go back to that. I done seen who she is. But it's the same way with Esau. We done seen there. You can't go. These small hats. I'll say these small hats. It ain't no. That perception is stamped to them. Right. There's no going back to no, we're good people. No, no. That's why y'all got a whole ADL league. Against so-called anti-S, all right, which that was formed out of what so-called prejudices against you so-called you Jays, but point being is that you can't go back to having a good image. Your image is through. Your image is tainted. You're known as being the wicked, and you're known as being the wicked of the world, and you're also known as being the richest capitalists in the world. You own all the companies, the oil resources. So you're the chief house of Satan, man. You're chief house of Esau, man. Amalek. All right, but I'll keep going. It says his seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Somebody got something?
Yeah, I just wanted to go into the blue letter with that word secret place as well.
Oh, kind of, yeah.
And it goes to I want to say something correctly.
Perpetration.
For
perpetration of crime.
If you have a perpetrator.
So it says the action of carrying out a harmful, illegal, or immoral act.
Oh, wow.
And that's Esau, man. Just think about how America has been structured, passing laws and all these different rights that actually keep this devil's system intact. When they stole it from the natives. Here it is how you steal a land and then you make laws against stealing. You get this amount of crime, that's a felony charge, this is a misdemeanor. But if you was actually a good people, what about the land that you living on? If somebody goes and breaks into your land, you're gonna charge them with a felony, you're gonna put them on the news outlets, and you're gonna and that's what they do with Jake, make them the face of crime. But what about all the lands that you have stolen? Have you tried to find ways to reverse those bills? Or you know what I'm saying? Go back and actually give these people reallocate the lands back to the people that identify with that said region. The ancestors of that land, so to speak. Say for instance, some ancestors come back to the land and it's white people that live there and they got the deeds for a home. And would they say, all right, this is y'all land and y'all live pre-us, so this is true ownership? Or would they go by this damn devil's paperwork, man?
Yeah. Oh, well, you had that recently. You had people saying, you had celebrities saying, oh, no one's illegal on stolen land. Okay, so y'all want to acknowledge Gad, right? But y'all not willing to give y'all homes back to Gad. Y'all not willing, so people were calling them out. They were saying that, oh, well,
that's hypocrisy.
Y'all want to say, oh, y'all want to claim, you people that claim stolen land, oh, no one's illegal on stolen land. Okay, well, if it's so stolen, then go give it back to the original inhabitants, man. Like basically like you were saying. But there's one I'm thinking of, if a brother could find it, my phone is over there. If great brothers came to thee.
Obadiah.
Obadiah, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so that shows you this man is a hypocrite by nature. If he's not going to do things of that nature to show himself as a clean people, how do you believe him now? Why are you finding ways just to trust this man because he's saying XYZ on a public platform? And that's why you Jakes got caught up with this whole Donald Trump scheme any damn way.
Yeah.
The image of Trump, he's known to be around so-called blacks. Jake always talking about invite him to the cookout. And they always want to give this devil a little bit of throwing stock in this man. And you see that you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans particularly are learning the hard way.
Yeah.
White people are going through the ringer, but all in all, they still being able to sustain a lot better than you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Your jobs is being took. You know, you're the ones that's actually, you know, fending to the government. You don't have land. You don't actually own anything. You know, but yet and still you trim your ways, but you get that precept too. You know, and that's on a major level and that's on a minor level.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing even what's a major thing, which I've seen a few videos of so-called black women. They'll date the white man as a cheat code and marry him, and then next thing you know, he up and kill their asses, man. We just had posted that in the group.
That's spirit. I was just thinking about that too.
But there's been a lot of cases of that.
A lot of that, yeah.
You know, that wasn't just one, you know, sporadic event that took place. And you know what that goes back to? Jake, well, first off, the black woman, that's a topic in itself. She just simple as all hell. But Jake really trusted this devil is there for their betterment. You know? Trying to clutch the serpent, thinking that he won't use his poison to bite your ass, man. That's the simplicity of Jake. The scriptures already tell Jesus a snake. If you see a snake in any concept of life, it don't matter what type of snake. A rattlesnake, a boa constrictor, you know, any snake. You look at you see a garden snake, your ass ain't gonna really be too, you know, fond of grabbing it. But Jacob see this white man, and they'll really think that this man actually is there for their betterment.
Yeah, if I could say, on Nero's 47 campaign trail, he was hell bent on lowering the gas prices in the groceries, and you see where that's going.
Oh, right.
He said no more wars. He was the guy that was looking to be the guy that was going to win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And then you see how it went backwards. And then you Latinos, y'all were going gung ho for Nero 47. Latinos for Nero, and now look at you. You had a deportation center, man. At an ICE deportation center.
A lot of those women are getting sexually abused and impregnated by Esau, as well as and then this is supposed to be a so-called law enforcement, and that's how this devil do. When he's in that dark area and he knows them cameras not on him, he's gonna show his colors. But when when the light is on him, lights, camera, action, he gonna say what you need to hear.
Right.
Jobs is booming, things are gonna get better. What you just said, gas prices are lowering. That's what you need to hear. That's what you want. That's what a nigga want to hear. You know, food. You know, that's what keep a nigga like, you know what, we got hope here. You know, and then what? He turns around and bites you in the ass again and again and again. You know, but this is the last go around through the spirit. You got it.
I got one.
I got one too, but you go ahead.
This is Psalms 5 and 6. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. So
yeah, go into the definition too, but you got it. You can spell it.
I was gonna say, like, just his track record alone with what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, he's been shown to be a bloody and deceitful man. You look at the atrocities of blacks, West Indians, and Haitians, then the Native American and Seminole Indians, and then the so-called Latinos, all the young so-called Mexicans. It's the same thing. It's just trails of blood with this man. Even going down to how he did experiments on you so-called Latinos with the birth control. How he gave so-called black people syphilis to Tuskegee. How he gave syphilis to the so-called Panamanians. It's just been a track record of him leaving his tracks all over the world, all over our people, and then he went over to take over the whole world.
Yeah, and that shows you this devil will work immorally to get his point across. You know, even these campaigns in Iran where they'll put the image out that these are nefarious people that we have to be on high alert for because they have the possibility of nuclear. It's all bullshit, man. You know, these are people that are heavy T words, you know, and they threaten the United States interests, so to speak. But when you listen to this, man, you gotta have them question marks like that. You know, it's a meme. It was a Jake. He had like 3 or 4 question marks on his head. He had that look like, huh? That's how you gotta think when you listening to this man. You gotta really listen to him, and like the scripture says, comparing spiritual things. Compare his spirit to what he says, and then see what he does. Mm-hmm. If somebody's gonna say one thing, do another, that's hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. You know, you should question that individual. You should hold that individual or that nation of people under high scrutiny. But y'all still fall into, talking about you niggas, you Latinos as well as Native Americans. You still run to his arms for security rather than running to the Lord. That's all we say. We're not saying to trust us, give us your money, we'll be your personal advisors to get on. That's not the message here. We tell you to never trust your enemy according to the scriptures and lean upon the Lord. Read the scriptures. The scripture says, blessed is he that readeth. Learn from the prophets, the men of the Lord, and go to what the advice of the Bible. Jake don't want to go to the Bible. That's all we do is we're just mediums through the Spirit, and not on the right hand side, just middlemen, so to speak, to push the message of the Lord. That's all. That's our only job, is to bring out the message of the Bible to convey unto you. But then you hate us.
That's where you get the word media.
That's where you get
media. Because that's all. What does media do? They basically push out the news to the people. You know what I'm saying?
To the masses.
Mm-hmm. Somebody got something?
I got that word.
Listen more than that?
Oh yeah, listen.
Oh yeah, you got it.
I got something too.
The blue letter is H, 3577, Kazab, and it goes into a lie, untruth, falsehood, deceptive thing.
Mm-hmm.
We go into that?
Reread. You talking about reread the scripture?
Yeah, reread what you just read.
This is Psalms 5 and 6.
The definition.
Oh, the definition.
Kazab goes into a lie, untruth.
A lie, untruth. Keep going.
Falsehood. Deceptive thing.
That's the so-called white man. He's been deceiving you from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And he's going to keep deceiving you. They always push this energy that things are actually getting better. But in reality, if things get better for the so-called white man, all he's going to do is use his wealth and his vast amount of resources to put tighter control on the people. He's not really trying to make individual Americans wealthy and liberated and have their own peace and state of mind and not work.
Yeah.
They want to kill off the working class. And they're doing it right now through the job market.
Well, that's why there's no, to your point, why they don't want Jake to climb up the ladder, because there's no financial assistance. Well, not assistance, but there's no financial education specifically. Well, there's no education centered around specifically finance. I'm talking about, of course you could take classes, but I'm talking about your basic level education. They don't teach you financial literacy. So, that's one way he keeps you people down is through, intelligence. He wants to hoard all the information for himself. He wants to hoard all the not only information but resources. To himself, because he wants to live at the top. Yeah. Did we ever get that? Did you want to go back into that? We get that Job 9:24 too.
I get it.
Okay. But hey, he's the one that controls this earth. That's why, just like we mentioned the small hats, you look at every major corporation, especially within media or within every industry, every dominant industry in the world, whose face is behind it. Mm-hmm. All right, you got it.
You get a joke? Do you jump with that definition?
That's it.
Okay. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Mm-hmm. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
Yeah, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, which we established who the wicked is. It's Esau, Edom in the Bible. All right, but it said the earth is given unto him. What does that mean specifically? I mean, what does that mean? That means basically the power of the earth. Look at whose face is on the money. Look at who, you know, is the movers and shakers. Right now, they're fighting over the Bering Strait.
Yep.
You know, and Esau has his hand in that. What is that? That's the most popular trade route.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest trade route of goods in the world.
Yeah.
And right now, you know, it's being put on hold and being you know, blockaded and you know, armored. You know, but that whole thing. Well, going back to the point, Esau has his hand in that. That's why there's friction going on right now over there, because Esau wants he wants those resources, just like with specific. Well, I'll say specifically with Iran. You know, they set up a puppet leader in place of Iran's leader, who was against them. And so then what? So then Esau basically said, all right, you know what? We got to get rid of this guy. You know, they created a coup. You know, they created a whole operation to get the last guy out of there. And then you know, they pretty much set up a new guy. I think his name was Shah Pahlavi. You know, they set up that guy, but he started doing deals. He started doing more deals with United States, and the Iranians couldn't stand him. You know, but that's the whole history behind Iran and U.S. friction. But the point being is that this devil, you know, he has that power to be able to infiltrate a whole nation, and take their resources. You got it.
And that's why another definition of deceiver is a trickster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody that tricks you, they have a lot in their, you know, they got a lot of tools in their bag, man.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, you know, when we was younger. I don't know if these kids have a lot of magicians that they watch, but I remember they had like David Blaine and Chris Angel when I was growing up, you know, and you see they had all kind of trick. They would do street.
Oh yeah, David Blaine. Yeah.
They were street magicians, you know, and they had a myriad of different tricks.
Yeah, they have people's minds fucked
Oh,
up.
the people was damn near running off. They would go to the hood where Jake was at, you know, and damn near Jake was afraid of him, you know, because of, you know, the tricks that they would pull, you know, and it's the same concept with this devil, man. This devil goes around just pulling tricks on the people to gain access to the land, to steal their resources, to get more control, to keep them under the spell. And that goes back to the wine in the scriptures, you know, which wine goes into philosophy, and philosophy is a way of living. In the Greek is the love of wisdom. You know, philo is love, and Sophia is wisdom. But this devil's philosophy, or his standard of concept of thinking, is not true philosophy. Because the scripture says in Sirach that knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. So it's really deception, you know. And that's why I told you also in Proverbs the 7th chapter, for young men to come unto the woman, not the strange woman. America and the way that this whole system is designed and built up, that's likened unto a strange woman. Because a strange woman, her whole thing is to trick you, man. You know, that's why they call men tricks. You know, they'll do certain things to try to, you know, get you out of your money, your resources. That's a strange woman. You know, rather than a woman that actually loves you for you and wants to build you, the other woman wants to take away. That's America, man. That's why America is likened unto a woman in the scriptures. You know, to just draw the essence out of you. Look historically of what America has done unto us as a people, unto our forefathers and the leaders. You know, through every era and every nation, or every tribe from the nation of Israel, man. You know, and he goes around to other countries doing the same stuff. So how is it that people look at us like we just are speculatory or angry or vexed from just pockets of things that's taking place, when you see these things take place on a global scale historically? You see? But that shows you that our people, like scripture says, neither does my people consider. They don't consider the facts. And they want to keep giving this man more license and to do what he does, and he's doing nothing but wickedness, man. You continue.
Oh, who was reading? Was it you?
No,
No, I didn't have one.
I got something.
Oh, I thought you okay.
I thought
You got it.
Yeah, that's something. But this is Revelations 13 and 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Yeah, see? And that's talking about the wicked. It's talking about Esau, you know? But what it said, he had horns like a lamb. The image of a lamb is innocence. You know, a lamb doesn't have an attack mechanism, nor does it have a defense mechanism. So this devil will throw his crack ass on the podium and have these super long speeches, you know, just telling lies. You know, laying out bulletins of points. Oh, look at the whole thing with Fauci.
Huh. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was just lie after lie after lie.
The false health expert. Bill Gates, all these different individuals that's the leaders of what they would say the free, and it's not no free world, man. This is a like Alex Jones called it the prison planet. This is a true prison planet, man.
Yeah.
He has imprisoned the world, and he's looking to gather more prisoners. When this devil takes over these countries, all he's doing is locking them up.
Yeah.
Here in America, right now, we are locked up. Leave, and you can only leave so long. You know, you got to come back to America. You know, you got to pay your taxes here. So you got to always come back and work here. You can't just leave.
Exactly.
Now, some people can't. Some people do save up enough, and they might move. But for the most part, how this devil structures and designs this place.
Oh, this niggas don't go outside of their neighborhood. You know, it's a lot of jakes, like I'll say lower income people. They don't go outside of their vicinity. Some of them been there their whole life. They're like, I ain't never even been out the city.
Yeah.
There's some people that stay in Georgia that haven't been in Atlanta for years, decades, damn near.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, going back to his line, if I could say, you know, you said you had certain Jays that don't leave the neighborhood. Well, Esau said this is a free country, you got free opportunity. But he does the redlining thing where you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you're excluded for living in certain neighborhoods, certain zip codes. But he says that you're free, you know, grab yourself by the bootstrap, but they got certain laws that keep you back from living in certain communities or living a certain way of life.
Yeah, that redlining, I believe, that started in, I want to say the 50s or 60s, but that was basically Esau's way of denying, you know, when Jake wanted to go in a specific area, move in a specific area, it was like a red line, or it may have been like the other way around. Maybe when Esau wanted alone, but basically it was a dividing line between. You know, they were preventing Jake, in so many words, they were preventing Jake from getting in certain areas, man. You know, they weren't approving loans in the so-called white areas, you know. But
so now that forces you, you know, to live in areas that
of poverty.
Of poverty. Now you're more prone to sickness. You're
Violence.
more prone to violence. You're more prone to breaking in. You have to live under a certain threshold. Because if you have more, and it shows if you have more, and it shows that you have more living in the ghettos of the hood, your house is gonna get broken.
Yeah.
You know, you want a nicer car, you want to get a nicer vehicle that has less problems and things of that nature.
Yeah, you can't have nothing.
You can't have anything. So this devil done. These are charges.
Yeah,
You know, these are charges that the devil has to pay for.
Yep. Oh, but even on the flip side. When Esau wants to come in your neighborhood, now I'm sorry. Now he about to take everything, you know.
Oh yeah, that's
wicked
as hell.
Esau when it's time for him to
The devil.
you know, when he wants to come take your hood, he gonna come in with a hard hat and start tearing shit up or renovating it, and then put the price up 10 times.
Yeah.
To, you know, put the value up times 10. So when it's time to come in your neighborhood, he come just take that shit. You know what I'm saying? He'll start buying the properties, you know, and he creeps in. The next thing you know, in 2 or 3 years, that whole area is totally different. You know, so that's he takes whatever he has the power of the earth, so he just takes whatever he wants. Matter of fact, I think I did want to get that in Obadiah.
Yeah, I'm
I think
here.
you got Obadiah? If you got it, just read from where it says you can get 3. We'll start at 3.
Okay, this Obadiah 1 and
Get a
3.
couple more too.
Okay, it's Obadiah verse 3. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, though that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Yeah, the pride of thine heart, talking about the wicked, all right, Esau, all right, which he said that the pride of your heart have deceived thee, because you're a proud man, you know. You that's all you do. You boast on your you take over the world, and you boast on your riches. You boast on your power.
Yeah, and that shows you he has a complex. You know, if you look at different complexes like the Napoleon complex,
Oh, right.
God complex, that a lot of that comes from being proud, man.
Yeah.
Because you're not humble if you really got a complex that you know what I'm saying? It's about you. That's self-centered. That's how that's white supremacy. That's that white supremacist mindset, man. That's why the rich, they'll create tax concepts to benefit them mainly. And they'll say, all right, well, since we the rich, we're the ones that's pretty much giving like the lion's portion towards businesses and growth. You know, they have these different, that's a concept of thinking. And the poor, all right, you're just an employee and you really should pay more tax, and it's more of y'all and it's less of us, and we actually are the driving force of these companies and these businesses. So we need higher tax breaks so that we can actually reinvest and to build more businesses. That's, you know, it might be a couple of other attachments, but that's their concept of thinking. But that's pride. That's still the mentality that you think that you deserve more because you have more. And these people deserve less because they have less. And then they'll create these, like I said, concept. They'll create a concept and put a concept within the concept and say, due to X, Y, Z, you don't deserve this. You need to have more. Like me and the brothers, I'm talking earlier about credit. That's a concept, you know. And this devil will create these things, and you understand it. We understand it, and we have to play in the world of that. But in reality, that's part of this devil's deception too. You know, to keep himself always at the top and to keep you always at the bottom, to the point where you really can't play his game, and you can't play from the bottom. You can't play this game and get at the top, man.
Nah.
You know,
This fucking nigga, I think it was a rapper. I was watching an interview. This nigga is a nigger, Baby Kia.
Oh, yeah.
And so this nigga said, yeah, I want to be yelling on this. Nigga got up on the interview and said, yeah, I don't even want no million, man. I want 100 billion shit. That nigga said, man, I want trillions of dollars. Like, you fucking nigga, man. You're not gonna get this. You're not gonna get this amount, man. This guy is trying to aim for. But basically, what you were saying is you're not gonna be able to play Esau at his own game. You're not gonna get. A nigga will never break. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very rare that a nigga will break $1 billion. Cause look at the entertainment industry. It's only what, maybe 3. You got Dr. Dre, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Rihanna. There's 5. So it's like, you know, it's very rare that a nigga even break that threshold, yet alone, you know, 100 billion or, you know, get into the super rich. When you look at the super rich, it's all Esau, man. That's how you know this, what we read before. He Job 9:24. I'm blanking out, but the wicked covered the face of the earth. You know. Oh, but it also said he covered the faces of the judges, which going back to that Trump point, you know, we gotta mention that Trump put up an image of so-called image depicting so-called Christ. You know, so he put which is a false image in itself. All right, so he's depicting, he's him depicting that iconoclasm, which means image destruction. That's him. That's an example of him covering those faces, man. You know, he put those images out there to the people, all right, which is straight deception, to a point where you have Israelites that worship that particular image, that so-called white man Jesus image, you know.
Yeah, they put it all throughout these churches, you know, and they'll feed it into your mind that that's the image of the angels,
The image of God.
the image of God, the holiest image available is the goddamn string-haired devil, man. You know, and then they'll put us as the image, and then the image of wickedness, and these press upon the minds of the masses. You know, that's part of his deception. And it has showed, like, if you're in a dangerous position, you know, if, say for instance, you have to survive as a white child, I think they really you really want to actually find a black man for support. Like if everybody's going crazy, you know, because they understand that really Jake is we're really a caring people, man. You know, now we know niggas do rob, kill, steal, you know, just like all people. And you have 2/3, but all in all, we are holy people, man. You know, Jake does a lot of this wickedness because of the energy that's being pushed on the media, you know, and that's the image that they put as the status of manhood. You know, a man is a real man if you got a gun on him or selling dope. Then these niggas are very impressionable, you know, and impoverished, and they look at this is what makes money, being a drug dealer. This is what, you know, it's only so many niggas that are gonna make the NBA. So if you make money, it's really gonna fall upon the line of really wickedness here in America. Or you got a few things that you can do, but was pushed out that women would, and they do things that press upon the minds of women. So these women be like, I want a gangster, I want this and that. But that's part of the deception too of this devil, man.
Right. It all boils down to power. That
Power,
money,
yeah.
the money gives you power and status, and you know, so that's what these people want to achieve: money, status, power. You ask any nigga what's their goal? Yeah, I want to make shit. I want to make more money. Yeah, shit.
Money.
What's your 5-year goal? Oh, yeah, shit. I want to have a house. I want, you know what I'm saying? I want 100 million. Nigga shoot for the stars, dumbass nigga.
Yeah.
But not realizing, like you said, that you know, it's a threshold for you to get into that top tier of money. It comes with a price, man.
Yeah, you gotta sell out.
Yeah, you gotta sell out, whatever that may be, which is typically through homosexual acts. Right. But that's how this devil gets down.
Sell your people out.
Sell your people out, yeah, or push, like, which same thing as selling your people out is pushing an image, a negative image, you know, to your people, putting out a bad example. You know, so that's selling you're really selling your people out to a degree. Well, yeah, that's really what it is. But you're doing that through what imagery, negative imagery, because you're pushing out death and wickedness.
Putting a spell on Jake.
Yeah, that's it.
Keeping the spell and the lies going through waves of music. Because it's a wave.
Influence.
Yeah, waves work heavily on the minds of the people. What you got, brother? I know we get close.
Yeah, we can get one or two more.
Okay, well, I can just read this real fast. You said you want to finish?
Yeah, I'm going to finish off on it.
What was that? What would you have? Obadiah 3? Yeah. Just get that. You finish off on, and then we can get 4, and then bars all you got.
Okay. It says, "Whose habitation is high? That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down around?"
Yeah, that's him in the stature.
Yep.
You know, he puts himself in a lofty position. That's why if you go into the concept of the super rich and the poor in the ancient world, like Solomon would be likened unto the super rich. And he was significantly richer than the people, but the people were significantly rich too. You know, they were, the case in point, when the Queen of Sheba came to Solomon's palace, she seen that the servants, she thought the servants was King Solomon. He was like, no, I'm a servant. I'm a servant.
Right.
He wasn't under Solomon getting paid $17 an hour.
Right.
So he looked like a king. He was a underling of the king, so Solomon blessed him as, as such.
Yep. That's how the whole nation of Israel is supposed to be. It's supposed to be immensely rich.
Yeah.
You know?
You look at the devil, he's firing federal workers. Just because. Esau don't like you. And if he'll do that to his own, how much more you Jakes, man? You think he really cares about you taking your job from you, your factory job, which a lot of these jobs is starting to be taken up by robots within these companies we work? It's gonna get worse. The future is gonna become more and more grim, and this devil's gonna show how fucking deadly he is as a person, man.
And how useless you are to him. That's what he's gonna show you. He's gonna show you, hey, well, really, I don't need you. So, he's gonna put out a whole bunch of disease warfare. He's gonna try to put a C-hip in you. A lot of people he's going to, rather. He's gonna put a C-hip in a lot of you people that don't believe, and then he's gonna basically
Take you out.
Take you out because he don't need you. Like you said, he got within. It's a lot of statistics that within 5 to 10 years, AI is gonna be out of this world. It's gonna replace everything.
Yeah. Quantum leaps.
Everything. Drivers, your industry, your factory industry, trucking, everything. They're saying basically, it's gonna take over. So the top of Esau knows he don't need you people. He really just needs you out the way. Because you're fucking up his enterprise. You are basically you're goyim to him. You're just heathens.
He's gutting out the old concept of America and
revamping it.
Renovating, yep.
I gotta get ready to go in a second, but you can get what you got.
Okay, I just read this real fast. This was gentrification. I looked it up, the origin of it, because we were talking about how he does this heavily, which we all know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it says, historians say that gentrification took place in ancient Rome and in Roman Britain, where largely villas were replacing small shops. By the 3rd century, the word gentrification from gentry, which comes from old gentries of gentle birth, people of gentle birth. In English, landed gentry denoted the social class consisting of gentlemen and gentlewomen, as the latter were known at that time. So this shows you how history, it all starts back from the beginning, which this devil's, it goes back to the Roman Empire, showing you this is Rome all over again anyway. We're still living in the image of the beast, the 4 beasts, which is Rome, whose deadly wound is healed. He's still using that same deceptive through the Caesars, the modern day Caesar, which would be Nero, Donald Trump, and he's looking to break you down, and he feels like this is his next go round to do it the right way, because he didn't get to do it in ancient Rome fully, Through the spirit, you have the Lord and the disciples that was disrupting the spirit of Rome, teaching the truth, the prophets, and the same thing is taking place now, and he knows that, man. He knows all these different things. That's why he can lie. In order to lie or deceive, you have to know the truth.
That's it.
You got it.
Yeah, so, Lord willing, brothers were edified, just going through those different subjects. And we're going to close out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim. Pushing out this truth. Shalom.
Shalom.